Welcome to the End of the Shell show, exclusively at endoftheshell.com. My name is Matthew Szlachetka, and I'm going to play a song called And I See You Now, which is off my brand new album.
I guess I'll go and act it again, covered up all the baggage. I used to treat it just like a friend, but now it's a job I'm stuck in. Wondering what I'm gonna do when the bomb gets dropped again. Wondering what I'm gonna do, put it on the line again. And I see you now, trying to wear me out. And I see you now, trying to break me down. And I see you now, gonna fix it somehow. And I see you now, gonna fix it somehow. Feels like I'm out on the run from something I stole. She's just like the one that got away. Now I'm kicking myself. The foundation once built to last, but now water seeps through the cracks. The foundation's built to last over time. Take the proper landing, and I see you now, trying to wear me out. And I see you now, trying to break me down. And I see you now, gonna fix it somehow. And I see you now, gonna fix it somehow. I could take any punches, but I come back quick like a southpaw. Battering at approaches, waiting for the bell to go off. And I see you now, trying to wear me out. And I see you now, trying to break me down. And I see you now, gonna fix it somehow. And I see you now, gonna fix it somehow.
There are a few bands that I know, and they always send me texts about, oh, I'm doing this show, you should come hang out. And I know they're mass texts.
I actually don't do mask tests.
You now, do you do personal texts with, like, okay, I have a show, I would sure enjoy for you to come.
I do.
And then a nice little, like, quip about, like, I really enjoyed that martini we drank, or I don't know. Do you do stuff like that?
I do.
See, I think that's cool. I will accept a text as long as it has a personal message like that. These cookie cut texts that I receive are just like, dude, you're not even, like putting any effort in it. I don't know. As a listener and as like a person that goes to see bands, I kind of want to feel like, not that I'm dating you, but I kind of want to feel special. I kind of want to feel like, like you're personally inviting me. A band did that one time, and this was the Ultra Monks. Gary Vale, he wrote me a personal email, and I went and I showed up to his spot. And part of the reason, there's a few reasons why. One of them, don't they? Everybody's like, oh my God, I'm gonna always write Turtle like a personal message. Like, guys, no. I mean, it works out if it falls into my life, first of all, and if it falls into my life, then I think about it, and then if you write me that personal message, then it's just like, oh, okay.
Pulling on the heartstrings.
Yeah, then it's like, okay, perfect, then it was meant to be. Rather, it's like a text blast, and it's like I kind of can do it if I want to, but now that the Dodgers might be back on TV, it's like, I might want to watch the Dodger game a little bit more.
No, I do that with, like Facebook notes too. The only time I wouldn't do it is if I, do like the invite thing. But I don't even do that anymore because the app that I use is called Bands in Town. And in essence, when it first started, it was great. And then kind of like what Apple does with all their updates, when it usually screws stuff up, they updated their app and it screwed up the whole app. And you can't invite people to your shows. And I've emailed them like about 5 times now, and they've got back to me twice saying that the problem has been fixed.
Bullshit.
But they lied.
Bullshit. You lie at people.
They lied. I can see your nose growing. Lied. And so it makes promoting that way much harder. So now what I do, I always did it, I do personal invites to the lists that I've made per city.
Look at you, per city. Dude, I like that.
So, cheers.
Cheers.
Rain fills the gutters, puddles on the ground, wood for the fire, wet leaves all around. Days in the kitchen, just home from school. First taste of brandy, never could follow no rules. We've grown divided, how time is strange. I'm wondering where you are. Come home for December, we can put your reggae on. Come home for December, we can sing a song. Nobody told you right from wrong. You left home early, and I'd wish I tagged along. We've grown divided, how time is strange. I'm wondering where you if I'd known your heartache was left alone, I'd taken the time to call. Come home for December, we can put your reggae on. Come home for December, we can sing a song. Come home for December, we can put your reggae on. Come home for December, we can sing a song. We can sing a song. We can sing a song.
MattSlachetka.com. That is where you can find him at. And briefly, just want to talk a little bit about what I'm drinking here. I'm drinking some iced coffee.
That looks really good right now.
Do you want to try it?
I would love to.
Hey, go ahead. It's my own special blend. I dip my penis in it.
It's delicious.
Just kidding. I didn't dip my penis in it. No.
Salty.
So I've been experimenting. I work at a cafe part time because I have like a billion jobs. I don't know how many jobs do you have? One. Okay. I have like 5. I literally have like 5 jobs. And it's funny because when you combine them all together, I still can't afford to move out of my parents' house. It's the most oddest thing in the world. It's like, how can I be working so much and still not like afford to like move out? It's ridiculous. Only my life could, something like that happen with. But anyway, so I got the second job working at a cafe, and I'm a tea guy for the most part. I'm always drinking tea, but it's been so cold lately. And the great thing about working at this cafe is they allow me access to all the drinks that I want for free.
Excuse me, did you say cold lately?
I mean hot. Did I mean hot? I meant hot.
I was like, I was like, wow, what am I doing wrong here, man?
I know. Hey, I'm all like uncolded out, So I've been experimenting with coffee, and the thing that I like about coffee is that you can there's different flavors. Like with tea, you get the flavor, and you either get it sweet or unsweetened with lemon or honey. That's kind of the variety. But with like coffee, well, let's face it, guys. Ever since the advent of French vanilla as a cream, that pretty much just dominated the coffee scene, in my personal opinion. That's just me.
I like hazelnut.
Okay, so what I did with this coffee, because when I go home, because like my sleep cycle, I'm only sleeping maybe 5-6 hours if I'm lucky. So in the morning when I wake up, I like to, when I'm driving into one of my jobs, I like to have the coffee from the cafe, and so I mix it up. So in here is French vanilla, house coffee, and hazelnut. Did you taste hazelnut?
It was delicious. Yeah. How come you didn't bring me one?
Well, I figured we could share it, because I don't want to like take the cafe of like all their coffees, and so I just walk out like, hey, this is me. But I've been really kind of digging on it. What do you like to drink to like be refreshed? Do you want some more?
Sure, I'll have a sip.
Go ahead, man.
It's good.
Right? Do you want to try it down? No. Okay. Well, what kind of stuff do you like to drink?
Refreshing drinks? Yeah. Non-alcoholic or alcoholic?
Well, let's do non-alcoholic, and then we'll move into alcohol.
Okay, we could be here for a long time when we get into that subject. I like iced coffee. I usually go for iced coffee with soy milk and just like a little bit of sugar, just to kind of, get it done, keep it easy. Every now and then, when I am going into that realm, I'll do the Frappuccino.
The frap.
Usually like with an extra shot or two.
Espresso.
Espresso, yes. Yeah, I'm usually kind of keep it simple like that. Otherwise, actually those berry refreshers are really good too from Starbucks.
Okay. Oh, like a smoothie type?
No. Smoothies are good though too. I love smoothies. Like
I'm a fan of the smoothie.
Like a good smoothie, like a green machine smoothie or something, or a berries type smoothie with banana, and
yeah,
it's delicious. But the refresher, they call it like a berry hibiscus refresher from that big company that has many locations.
Right. That should, by the way, sponsor the show. I'm just saying.
But it's really good. I think it's technically a tea, but it's really good. Tastes like juice. Yeah.
I love that we're getting to know the intimate drinks of you.
Yes.
What do you? Okay, so now alcoholic wise, what do you drink?
I'm always a fan of a gin and tonic. I love gin and tonics.
I love gin. I love gin.
A gin and tonic would be delicious right now. Venturing into the good brown drinks, I'm a whiskey fan, rye and bourbon. If I'm not doing straight whiskey, I like a good Manhattan, or else one of my favorites, the Sazerac, which is the first American cocktail. With the
Sazerac,
with the weather right now, a Sazerac would be perfect.
Well, what's in a I've never even heard of this.
Sazerac is Sazerac rye whiskey with Peichun bitters, or Peichow bitters, however you pronounce it. And then traditionally there was a little bit of absinthe in there. And there's one other, I think vermouth. I think sweet
Love
vermouth.
vermouth.
It's good. It's a delicious, delicious drink.
Now, me being a gin man, you know, I just had a gin and tonic the other day because that used to be my drink of choice. Like, and this was me. Like, I would go into the bar, my local bar, the Cove, by the way. I'll give them a plug. And I would go there, and I would always order a gin and tonic. And for years, that's all I would order. And then I was like, you know what? Not that I'm bored, but I'm just like, I didn't want to be that guy that just would come in. And granted, it was nice because I would walk in, the bartender would see me, probably Greg. He's usually working.
Have one ready for you.
And he'd just be like, "Here you go."
It's like Cheers, man.
Yeah, but then I started saying, you know what? I'm gonna stay within the gin realm, and I'm gonna venture.
Gin and juice or something.
I did gin and juice for a bit, but that's only when I was being thuggish or when I'm coloring. So when I'm coloring, I usually do gin and
Just
juice.
like a gin martini.
Yep, that's exactly what I do. I always do it dirty, very dirty, with vermouth and filthy almost actually. It's really filthy, and that's
So
usually
just olive juice with a splash of gin.
yeah, essentially. Well, I mean, the way they make it there, it's like a shitload of gin, a shitload of olive juice and vermouth. You got to do the vermouth. So that's me. But I like a piney gin. And I've always said this because to
Versus
me,
juniper.
yeah, because piney gin reminds me of Christmas. It's like Christmas in a bottle.
Yeah.
What's your thing with gin? Do you like it piney?
I'm a big fan of Bombay Sapphire. Hendrix is really good. Tanqueray. There's actually a really good gin. 'Cause I'm from the Northeast originally, and my parents live in Vermont now. So whenever I'm on the East Coast, and I'm hanging out with my parents, it's usually up in northern Vermont. And there's a great new boutique gin company up there called Green Mountain Gin, which is fantastic. They're based out of, I believe, without totally screwing this up, I believe that they are located in Johnson, Vermont, which is near Stowe. So that's all like northern Vermont.
Okay.
It's Lemoyne County. So,
dude, I gotta go to Vermont just so
it's
I
beautiful.
can. Yeah,
I was there a couple weeks ago.
just so I can try that gin.
Yeah, and right now it's gorgeous. They don't call it the Green Mountain State for nothing. So
Okay.
it's absolutely gorgeous right now.
Perfect.
So this song I started a few years ago. And the first part of the song came really, really quick. Probably quicker than most songs I've written. And I was really excited because I thought the rest of it was going to just be like this really easy thing, and I was going to have it within a day or two, and I couldn't have been more wrong. And what I had written as well, I wasn't sure if it was going to be a chorus or a verse or a bridge or anything. And so I thought that by playing it over and over again, it would somehow unlock the door to the rest of the song. And I couldn't have been more wrong about that either. And so I just play it to the point of driving myself to insanity. And eventually my neighbors onto the brink of insanity where they just would start screaming out their door, just like, "Shut up, man, play something else. This is killing me. You know you can play something else." And so finally I gave in and put the song down for a while. And so rewind back to January of 2013. I was out on a run really early in the morning between 6 and 6:30. And I live in the hills of Los Angeles, right under the Hollywood sign in Beechwood Canyon. And on this particular morning, the fog was still out, the city lights were still on, and the sun was just starting to peek its way through the trees. And up ahead about 40 or 50 yards was this coyote just kind of hanging out in the middle of the road. And instead of bolting like they normally do when they see somebody, he just kind of hung out, stood his ground, made eye contact, made sure I was okay, and then kind of turned around and started trotting along. And about every 20 yards or so, he'd stop to check up on me to see if I was still coming, which I was. And
about halfway through our run, we realized we were on the same path. It was this intimate moment where a little bit of nature meets this behemoth of a city. By the time I got home, I knew what I had to write about. This is called Waits for a Storm to Find, and it's the title track off my new album.
The sun sets on concrete rivers. I try to see the reflections on my mind, raging through an empty trough that waits for a storm to find. I run through these hills at dawn. Streetlights fight to linger on. Early morning frost leaves a clear path that moves from the woods to the city. Up just ahead, a coyote stares, struggling with two different kinds of jungles. One has his heart, the other takes his soul. He runs till there's no place to go. The sun sets on concrete rivers. I try to see the reflections on my mind, raging through an empty trough that waits for a storm to find. This place that you've known, you call it a home, but now the urban thief is stealing its meaning. Your life on the run, always searching to belong. And once again, it's time to move on. The question of love sits on the table. A love that brings you home every night. It cripples your senses. Harmony is tough. Sometimes love ain't enough. The sun sets on concrete rivers. I try to see the reflections on my mind, raging through an empty trough that waits for a storm to find. And I wait alone, and I wait alone with his way. It carries on, it carries on, it carries on. The on concrete rivers. I try to see the reflections on my mind, raging through an empty trough that waits for a storm to find, that waits for a storm to find, that waits for a storm to find.
As everyone knows, Enter the Shell has a Twitter. Is it at Enter the Shell? And I also have a Twitter too, which is at DJ Turtle with 2 R's. And just the other day, I was reading an article, and this article was talking about a satellite that we have. And this satellite kind of went a little rogue. It kind of got dinged out of the Earth's gravitational pull. Because as we all know, all the satellites that we have, there's this one certain area out in space where it's you can hang stuff and it's not going to fall or it's not going to, gravitate away. I forgot what it's called, but that's where all of our satellites and all of our spy stuff is at. Well, a year or two ago, one of our satellites got pinged out of that orbit, and it's kind of just been venturing out on its own. And this, when I read this, it made me think, and I tweeted about this, and it made me wonder that, I think as a humanity, we have it all wrong. I feel that, we haven't looked at the opposite perspective of what happens if we're the alien race. A lot of the times, all the movies that you see, the aliens are always, coming here to, and it just happens that they're coming to all the major cities, to New York and LA, and they're coming. But, I don't think anyone's ever looked at the perspective of what happens if we're the aliens and we're now venturing off and inhabiting and, not necessarily conquering, but going to other, places. I mean, we're already going to like the moon and Mars and stuff like that. And that notion just like got to me, and somebody actually tweeted back at me, and I'll tell you what they wrote, because I thought that was interesting, because no one ever answers at me or anything. I'm not saying I'm like helpless or anything. I'm just saying sometimes I just and I'm not like this crazy Twitter guy where I'm like tweeting every now and then. It's just I have these weird musings, and I just throw them out there. So this guy put, and his name is Diamond Mist, and he is at Blood Red Sea. By the way, he's apparently like a killer or something. So great. He put, and so I put, have you ever thought that we are the aliens? And then he put, at DJ Turtle, yes, we are the aliens to other planets, and dolphins are even the aliens from our own planet. So he went that route, right? And
It's up in the ante.
yeah, so I upped the ante. I saw his tweet and I raised him a tweet. And I told him, I said, I disagree. Dolphins are in our own planet, even though they live in a different world, because, we share the world. They just happen to just be dwelling in the water side rather than in the land side. So I was just curious about.
But they still are mammals.
They still are. You're right. You're right, and they are very smart. But I'm curious on two things. A, do you think that we are the alien race? Out there, going along, and B, what do you think about the dolphins inhabiting this world?
Well, I guess technically, if there is something else out there, which it's a big universe that we haven't really completely tapped into yet, or come close to tapping into, from somebody else's standpoint, we technically would be aliens, because alien means something that's foreign to you, right?
Right.
So yeah, I've always been curious to know what else is out there, because I don't know. I've always kind of been under the impression that we're just like a little microcosm within a universe, you know,
Right.
within other universes. So it's like, who knows, you know?
Have you ever thought that
we just don't have the power to get there yet, you know?
Yet being the key word.
So, I mean, I'm sure that you and I both probably won't be around when that happens.
We will
but
be. We will be. Don't be so sure of that. Technology is like
We're going to clone
fast.
ourselves.
Yeah.
And I think dolphins are great.
Okay. Have you ever taken that perspective of you know, us we're aliens? Like, have you ever thought about like us being that that crazy that we?
I think people are crazy in general.
Okay.
I mean, I think everybody's crazy. No matter how sane you think you are, you're still crazy. Everybody's got their own quirks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
You know, it's real weird because when I started focusing on the dolphins, I started realizing that like fish are like people too. You know, so I was just like,
so are you a vegetarian?
no, God no, God no, God. No. Well, we're the dominant race, so we get to you know.
There you go.
Woohoo.
Top of the food chain.
Yeah, top of the food chain.
Sunlight peeking through the window reflects the highlights in your hair. Breeze blowing through the window, smell of jasmine in the air. Though we left those days behind, you're forever on my mind. If you need to take some time, if you got something to find, I'll be right here waiting for a sign to move back into your heart. If you're out of words to say and you got to run away, I'll be right here waiting for a sign to move back into your heart. You left on Tuesday morning. Now my Mondays never end. You cut me off without warning. Now I'm missing my best friend. Though you left those days behind, can't get you off my mind. Oh, if you need to take some time, if you got something to find, I'll be right here waiting for a sign to move back into your heart. If you're out of words to say and you got to run away, I'll be